And one of the things that I have a ton of respect for Serginho Dest is he was put in place by Kylian Mbappe and immediately recovered the next week. There's Dest. Oh! Everything he touches turns to goals. 2 at the weekend for his club. And now in spectacular fashion, his first for his country.
What's up, soccer fans? Welcome to the Soccer Brothers podcast. I'm your host, Sahil, and I am joined by my brother, Nihal. Nihal, are you considering filing a one-time switch from this podcast?
I mean, honestly, I feel like we're like Jamaica. We have like one fixture every year or something. So I might have to do that.
So it's hard to even get cap tied, to this podcast.
What I was saying is we gotta be more consistent. We gotta bring the program up. But I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. It was exciting to see some of the players we haven't seen since November, and see kind of a full strength U.S. national team, men's national team, and a lot has happened really in the last couple of months. U.S. soccer-wise, we got Yunus Musah committing to the U.S. Was that last week? Or I think that was last week. That's really exciting. And some transfers that I can't remember right now, but it's been exciting. How are you doing?
Well, I never actually asked how you were doing, but
I mean, I realized that, but once I realized it, I had already been talking. So,
but yeah, I'm doing well. I mean, it was a fun game. Watching the U.S. men's national team is fun again, seemingly. So, I was excited about that, and Thursday night, week's ending, kind of. So, no.
Yeah, true. So for those of you that don't know, which I mean, you're here, so. The U.S. men's national team did play Jamaica on Thursday, March 25th, and I'll let you take it from there because you're the host, so you can explain what happened.
Yep, 1:28 Eastern Time kickoff. I actually don't know what location this was in.
It was in Austria, somewhere in Austria.
Okay, gotcha. Somewhere in Austria, and USMNT took on Jamaica and won 4-1. If you did, which I'm sure most of you know already, and. It was a pretty fun game. Do you want to go through? How about I go through the lineup first, and then we can kind of talk about position groups and what we. Oh, unless you have anything generally to say about the game right away.
Well, why don't you go through the lineup and we can talk about the lineup as a whole, and then maybe break it down by position group.
Okay, so. Starting lineup for the U.S. men's national team against Jamaica, you had Zach Steffen in goal, Aaron Long and John Brooks as the center backs. The fullbacks were Serginho Dest and Reggie Cannon. The midfield was comprised of Sebastian Lletget, Kellen Acosta, Yunus Musah, and the front line was Josh Sargent, Gio Reyna, and Christian Pulisic. So
that was an interesting order you laid it out in there. But
it was a little all over the place, but.
How'd you feel when the lineup dropped? I think I was pretty happy with it. Really, the only thing I did kind of want to see Anthony Robinson, but obviously I was curious to see Serginho Dest on the left. I think before the second match last time, I was talking about how I think we should play Cannon on the right and Dest on the left, and they've done that for the last 2 matches. They've both been available, so I think the big one that people probably wanted to see was. Chris Richards in defense over Aaron Long. But I mean, we'll get into it. I think based on how Chris Richards played today, I can understand why Greg Berhalter went with Aaron Long.
I think he was partially at fault for that goal, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I think I was pretty excited just given the roster. Obviously, I think the U.S. soccer community as a whole has kind of been warming up to Lletget recently, and obviously he played very well in this game.
I think there's been a huge overcorrection on that. I'm a big Sebastian Lletget fan. I think he's a really good, really solid player. I thought this was one of his worst games in a U.S. shirt, honestly, aside from the false 9. At least under Berhalter. I mean, he scored the 2 goals, so it's hard to say he had a terrible game, but. We can talk about it.
I think overall, if you extracted the goals, which maybe is kind of a useless thought exercise, but I mean, I think he probably was the weakest midfielder of the 3. You would probably agree.
I would agree with that, yeah. Should we just start in the midfield then? Should we just talk about the midfield?
Yeah, let's talk about the midfield. So, Sebastian Lletget, Kellen Acosta, Yunus Musa. I thought Kellen Acosta played really well in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I texted you and I was like, I think he's been our second best player in this match, behind Serginho Dest. I thought he was fantastic. He was playing the 6, so sort of the Tyler Adams role, but he played a lot higher up on the pitch than we've seen the number 6s under Berhalter play. He didn't really drop in between Aaron Long and John Brooks. I don't know if you noticed that, but he was playing pretty high up.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he and Musa were actually changing quite a bit, and he made a lot of marauding runs forward, which, I mean, Tyler Adams is capable of doing, but doesn't really do when Weston McKennie and Yunus Musa or Sebastian Lletget are in front of him. So that was really cool to see. You know, Kellen Acosta is someone that we were really high on when he first broke onto the national team scene. You know, we thought it would be a midfield of Kellen Acosta, Tyler Adams, and Weston McKennie. Remember? That was like, you know, all the rage. Or
right.
McKennie, Acosta, and like Jonathan Gonzalez. You know,
okay.
It's really nice to see him playing like this, and I think he might be our second best option at that position. I think right now, I mean, it's been one game, but I think I would take him over Jackson Ewell, based on this performance. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I could probably agree with that. I think he did look very comfortable in that 6 role, being able to make a few through balls and even get forward. I think there were a couple chances where it felt like, I think there was one chance where Reyna he had a decent angle to at least put the shot on target, but he couldn't. So Acosta could have had an assist there. I think I feel really comfortable. I mean, interestingly, obviously Acosta is starting off as a fullback, but I thought maybe the weakest parts of his game today were kind of getting into challenges. And as you said, he wasn't dropping much in between the center backs, but it did seem like he was a little bit reckless at times. I think he picked up a yellow card. You know,
it's funny. Acosta actually has always been a center midfielder for his club. He just played fullback for the U.S. when I think that was a Klinsmann.
That's right.
I think that was a Klinsmann thing. Which, I mean, he can play. But I think
it might have even been a thing at the youth level for him.
Maybe yeah, not. It was. He was. He played left back at the U20 World Cup, I think.
Yeah.
Or right, but he played fullback. You know, I thought I was nervous when I first saw our midfield in the lineup. Obviously, we didn't have a backup 6. Tyler Adams could not come because of, I believe, Red Bull Leipzig's COVID restrictions. So he wasn't able to. He obviously wasn't able to play. Kellen Acosta is much more of an 8, and he's played really higher up on the pitch for Colorado. He's played even at the 10 at times. So, you know, I was kind of nervous. I figured looking at the lineup that he would be the number 6. I didn't think Sebastian Lletget or Yunus Musa would be that. So I was a little bit nervous because, as you said, you know, it's not like he is the greatest defender. And, you know, I think, you know, if I were to criticize one thing about his game today is he lost a lot of challenges, right? He committed quite a few fouls in midfield. Which, you know, is not the worst thing that your defensive midfield can do. If you're giving away fouls in, you know, non-threatening positions, but it stops the attack and you're not picking up the yellow card, like, that's fine. And, you know, all in all, him being able to pick up the ball and, you know, he looked like Yunus Musa against Wales for the first time, just running through the midfield. And, you know, he's a 2-footed player. He's a pretty accurate passer, and he's able to turn. And I think, you know, this is a progression that we're just seeing amongst our average players, right? Where it seems like, not that Kellen Acosta's average, but it seemed like, you know, for a long time we had a lot of center midfielders who just couldn't turn out of pressure, really. Besides, like, Jermaine Jones or even Michael Bradley, I feel like, is not the greatest at turning out of pressure.
Yeah.
So I think that's just something that we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of these guys who are basically can play either the 6 or the 8 and are able to turn in midfield and push the ball forward. I mean, I think that's just a really valuable skill to have, and I think Kellen Acosta is going to be such an invaluable player probably coming off the bench. But since we have the Nations League, so he could be. Actually, does he still qualify for the Olympics? I don't know if he does. No, he doesn't. I mean, he could go as an overage player.
Right.
But he, because we have the Olympics, the Nations League, and the Gold Cup coming up, there's going to be a lot of opportunity to play first team action. So we need a lot of players. And this is something that I was going to talk about later when we were talking about our fullbacks. But I think one of the traps that USMNT fans fall into is sort of getting caught up on our best 11 or what is someone's best position, right? And I think a lot of it that is embedded in the Jurgen Klinsmann era where players were played out of position, but it really didn't help us. But even like with someone like Serginho Dest, it's totally fine if he plays left back sometimes and right back other times. I don't see why that's an issue, right? Depending on the opponent or who's playing on the wings for us. Or who's available, if Anthony Robinson's available or if Reggie Cannon's available.
Right.
I
think it is just aesthetically pleasing to just, kind of make your lineups and your dream, lineup when everyone's healthy and just have some kind of option to lean back on for fans. I mean, like that will just be a really good lineup. But yeah, like you're saying, I mean, it would probably be a bad thing if we were playing the same lineup every game and yeah.
Right, and players are going to get hurt. In a World Cup, you're playing every 3 days. You have yellow card suspensions. You need to know what you have. You need to have some flexibility. And a player like Kellen Acosta is going to be really valuable. And what I was going to say that I forgot to is I think he's going to be an incredible number 8 off the bench for us. And when he's going against tired legs, being able to push the ball forward. I think he'll be great at that. Do you have any other thoughts on Kellen here?
No, I think you kind of touched on it. Why don't we talk about Yunus Musa though? I don't think it was his best game in a U.S. men's national team uniform, even though he hasn't played that many because he's just had some other really good games, like you said, against Wales. But he just looks super comfortable, and I think I've said that about him before. But I just, like you're saying, like the ability to pick up the ball, make a turn in midfield, and keep play going, and sometimes even drive the ball forward when not when the wings are also kind of cutting inside and being able to create width too if the fullbacks aren't already doing that. And I think Musa just has that ability as well because of his experience on the wing for Valencia. And he kind of had that, not the hockey assist, but the hockey assist on the goal to Brendan Aronson. He played that ball up, that long ball to Brendan Aronson, which was a little behind him, but Aronson was able to head it on to Josh Sargent, who cut it back to him very nicely for that goal. But yeah, I thought he also played well.
On MLSsoccer.com, he's credited with an assist, and that's not right? He didn't get a direct assist in this game.
I don't think so, no.
I mean, did he pass it to Dest on the first goal? But Dest brought that up himself. But
I thought Luca de la Torre had an assist, Shalkini had an assist, Josh Sargent had an assist, and then the first one was unassisted.
I thought it was unassisted.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Also, that wouldn't have been on the same side as Musa. I don't think he directly.
Oh, actually, technically, Musa was the last pass to Dest.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't on. He was sort of from the 6th position, so that's probably what that is. But you're right. This is not a game where he, stood out on first watch. I'm sure if we went back or to go back and watch it again, we'd be like, oh yeah, he was the best player today. Besides Serginho Dest. And I think just he is so calm on the ball. You would not believe that this kid is he 18? 18 years old. Yeah. He doesn't act or like an 18-year-old on the ball. He nothing seems to really faze him. And he's just so good under pressure. He's so good at just ushering the ball forward. He's like a true modern-day two-way midfielder. I think. And, it's worth noting that this is a position he doesn't play for his club. right? He plays right midfield or right wing for his club.
Yeah.
And for him to be this comfortable in this system and even dropping in at the 8 sometimes, it's really encouraging. He's just such a fantastic player. I feel like there's sort of this idea around him that, maybe his ceiling's not too high, but he's always going to be solid. I think his ceiling is extremely high. I think he can be that really calming influence in midfield. Tyler Adams is a calming influence, but he doesn't have the creativity, the individual creativity that Yunus Musah has in carrying the ball forward, right? Weston McKennie's a little bit erratic at times.
Sometimes, which is a good thing, but sometimes a little bit of that.
But Musah is so calm, and I think having two midfielders like Adams and Musah with McKennie is great. And this midfield as a whole, really it's more of what we've been seeing. These triangles building, these plays where we're having our right side and our left side interchanging and forming these triangles with Lletget, Dest, and Pulisic on the left, and Cannon, Musah, and Reyna on the right. And it seems like Musah knows what he wants to do, knows where to be, and he's one of those players that I think also forces backward passes, which is also really valuable in midfield as well. So overall, I thought he had a really, really solid outing. Like I said, nothing that would jump out at you. He did only play 73 minutes. He was replaced by Luca De La Torre later, but he was great. I thought.
Yeah.
Great, I guess is maybe overstating it.
Yeah, I agree. He completed 92% of his passes, 45-49. He just looked very good under pressure, and I don't think made many mistakes. So I think that can qualify as a great game. Maybe not a great game, he had
right. Not like Lionel Messi against Bayern Munich, But yeah.
Yeah, and then do you want to talk about Sebastian Lletget?
Yeah.
I guess we didn't really talk about him.
I thought, like I was saying, I thought this was one of his worst games, especially in the first half. I think his touch was a little off. His passing wasn't great. He was just a little bit slow mentally. I think something that stands out to me in the first half was when Serginho Dest was sort of calling for the ball. I don't know if you remember this moment. Serginho Dest was a little bit ahead of him. Christian Pulisic was out wide. Lletget decided to wait and then pass it out wide to Pulisic. It led to a corner, and Dest went and talked to Lletget. But when that was happening, I was screaming past Serginho Dest because he was in position to take on the center back, cut it on his right foot, and maybe score. So I think this was not one of his best games in terms of reading the play. He was a little bit sloppy. Worth noting that it is preseason for these MLS players. A lot of them haven't played since October or September even, which makes Kellen Acosta's performance even more impressive. But that is something that's worth noting. But yeah, he scores 2 goals. So,
but I guess it also is a little more fair for you to make that assessment even with the 2 goals when both the goals were in the last 10 minutes of the game, and at that point, Jamaica's sending more of their guys forward. And
the substitutes, right? That's
right,
after all,
right.
12 subs have happened.
Yeah, definitely. Late game, really weird. We've actually seen that kind of thing before, where one player, I can't remember who it was in the previous game. One of the previous.
It was Soto. Soto scored 2 goals.
Yeah, Soto had 2 goals, and he was on for 5 minutes.
20, I think, but yeah.
Okay. Either way, though, it seems like players can just. And it's funny because Lletget also basically had the same goal both times. Not really, but
they were nice finishes, right? They just pass it.
Right, Nico Gioacchini assisted the first one, and Luca De La Torre assisted the second one. They were really nice passes, cut back to him, and they were both finishes that were not within 6 yards or anything like that. They were either just outside the penalty box or just inside the penalty box. So yeah, there were solid finishes, but I definitely get that perspective, especially when when the game mattered, when most of the starting lineups were on the field, he was not the best player.
No, and I think like I said, I think people overcorrect, and because people automatically are mad when there's an MLS player in the lineup. Like, that's definitely a thing that's out there, and it annoys me. Paul Tenorio had a really funny tweet where he was like,
I saw that.
The funny thing about Brendan Aronson is he wasn't good until he arrived in Austria on January 3rd. Which, to be fair, he has been a totally different player in Austria. But, I mean, it's just funny. Like, you know, people are like, oh, Reggie Cannon shouldn't be playing because he plays in for FC Dallas. But now everyone is fine that he's starting because he plays in Portugal. When in reality, he's been in terrible form for the past few months, which I think showed today, honestly. But it's just such a weird mentality. Like, obviously, I want all of our 11 players to be playing in the Champions League, but that's not how it's always going to be. And sometimes you want a player that's going to do the job that allows your more impactful and creative players to do their job better, right? If Sebastian Lletget is cutting off the right passing lanes, if he's dropping into spaces he needs to drop into, that enables Christian Pulisic and Serginho Dest to do more on the left-hand side, right? I mean, so it's stuff like that if you were to throw in, I mean, I don't know, I can't even think of like a creative midfielder who's, I mean, even if you could play Brendan Aronson in that position maybe from the start, I don't think that you would see the same sort of production. But
yeah, like just a general point, like lots of players' trajectories for growth aren't linear, or maybe some of the most talented players might not start in Europe. I mean, we've seen that for the U.S. men's national team. So I mean, like, Reggie Cannon's a young player. Like, even if he was playing in MLS a few months ago, like, it doesn't mean he's going to spend his entire career in MLS, and you have to give these guys a chance because,
right?
Yeah, like, you're right. Like, in their prime, you'd prefer to see them in Europe, but you can't just, if they're not playing in Europe right away. I know we've gotten used to players playing in Europe right away, but it's not going to be like that for everyone.
Well, and someone like Sebastian Lletget or even Aaron Long, like, if they are solid players, they're solid players no matter where they're playing. You know, Sergio Romero has been a backup goalkeeper his entire career, and he's been solid for Argentina. Not his entire career, but for, you know, the past 10 years, it feels like. And, you know, the thing about international soccer is you want continuity. You want your players to know what is expected of them. And Sebastian Lletget knows what Berhalter expects, and he's someone that Berhalter trusts, and that can't be, you know, underestimated. Now, would I be slightly upset if we had McKennie, Adams, and Musa, and Lletget is starting in a competitive match? Probably. I mean, I think I would much rather see McKennie, Musa, and Adams. And honestly, I think that's what we would see. So,
yeah.
It's weird. It's weird. I don't, like, let's just evaluate them on how they play for the U.S. national team. And if they're good, that game, they're good. Doesn't matter if they played in MLS. They're not automatically bad if they're playing MLS. They're not automatically good if they play in MLS. And, you know, we've had someone like... Sorry, I'm going to go on just a little bit longer. You know, I mean, you look at someone like Timmy Chandler, who always was, like, just a really solid player in the Bundesliga, and he just sucked for the U.S., right? I mean, he always sucked for the U.S., and you're just going to have cases like that. It's not the same thing. For some reason or the other, international soccer is just not the same thing as club soccer. Now, obviously, good players are good usually in both arenas, but, you know, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You just have to look at it on a player-by-player basis, and yeah.
I mean, the best player in our national team's history spent his entire career in MLS, basically. So,
yeah.
You know, it is what it is. And MLS, and the thing is, I think I've said this probably multiple times on this podcast, but we want MLS to be good. We want it to be good. We should want it to be good. Like, a lot of these guys came through MLS academies. Weston McKennie came through an MLS academy. Gio Reyna played in an MLS academy. So, I mean, you want that. You want us to be producing these players, and then they go to Europe, like you said, and improve there. That's a great system for us to have, honestly. That's what we should be aiming for. Even like a Brian Reynolds, he spent half a season in MLS, and now he's playing for your Roma team. So, you know, I was trying to think of the nickname, and I couldn't. It escaped me.
Gila Rossi.
Yeah, Gila Rossi. Yeah. So, yeah. Should we? I think there was only one midfield substitution, if I'm not mistaken, right? It was Luca De La Torre coming on for Yunus Musa.
Yeah, that is the only midfield substitution that happened.
Oh, so why don't we talk about Luca? What did you think of Luca's performance?
I mean, I thought he was just super good, just making an impact instantly when he came on. He had that assist, like I said, to Let Jet. Was very impressed with him. Like you said, you were quite excited about him a few years ago, but kind of went a little bit off the radar. But yeah, I think it's just I think there is just something, I think, with the infrastructure that Greg Berhalter has built where, like, we're just able to see new players come on and play super well. And that's a different point, I guess. But
I mean, it's really nice when a player knows what their job is.
Yeah.
Which you think would be more prevalent, but it feels like it's not. Even in club soccer sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I thought what did you think about him?
I mean, I thought he was really good. Like you said, I was saying that to you. I don't think I said it on the podcast. I was saying that to you before. I thought, Luca De La Torre is someone I was very, very excited about as a prospect, someone who participated in the U20 World Cup. He played for Fulham's youth team, and I just thought he could be a really solid number 10 for us going forward. And today, I mean, he showed why I was, excited about him in the past. I think this was his second cap. And he played against, I don't know if you remember that. I think it was a 4-0 loss to Ireland back in 2018. I think it was under Dave Sarachan still. But do you remember that?
No.
We played against Ireland and we got absolutely
Well, I remember
smacked.
the Ireland game.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember him playing.
He did play in that game. And, it just seemed like his career had stalled. He only made 7 senior appearances for Fulham in his 5 years there. But he got this move to Heracles in the Eredivisie, and he's been playing consistently. Like I said, you can see why I'm excited about him. He's a really creative and nifty player in midfield. He's a player who always wants to go forward, which we saw today. He picked up the ball in really interesting spots. It's funny, Taylor Twellman was talking about Joe Keeney and how he found himself in interesting spots and picking up the ball in interesting spots. And for a second, I thought he was talking about Luca De La Torre, because, I mean, that's what I was thinking about him on the right side of midfield there when he came in. He brings that more. We really don't have a number 10. We don't have many number 10s in the pool, right? You have Gio Reyna, you have Brendan Aronson who played there for Philadelphia. He brings that more of a number 10 feel to the game, where he can sort of play in between the lines. He can pick out a pass, and he can also dribble forward. So I think having a player like that is really nice. And he's only 22 years old, which nowadays is like old. But that's when Clint Dempsey, I don't think Clint Dempsey was even at Fulham yet when he was that age. So it like you said, growth is not linear. We know that. We're Bucks fans. We see that with Giannis. Well, I mean, okay, Giannis
I feel like
Giannis is a special case. I get it. Yeah. I mean, Clint Dempsey's kind of like that.
It's plateaued a little bit, but
he's better this year. But that's a conversation. It's an offline conversation. But he's a really crafty player, and I'm excited to have him in the pool. I don't want to spend an hour on each player, so we should continue going forward.
So shall we go to the forwards?
Why don't we just talk about the goalkeeper? Let's just get the goalkeeper out of the way.
The goalkeeper. You're so disappointed with Zach Steffen that you won't even say his name?
I mean, I thought he had a decent game.
Yeah. Do you remember that one time where
the touch
he
where he
control it?
Yeah, that was terrible.
And it led to a corner for Jamaica.
He played really well against Everton, though, in the FA Cup quarterfinal. He played really well in that match. I mean, he's just a solid player. He had 3 saves today. I don't think the goal he could have done much on.
No, that was a really good finish.
Yeah, it was. Right now, he's our number 1. I don't think he should be the de facto number 1. But what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like Greg is gonna go with the keeper that he coached.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I
probably
mean,
true.
at the club level, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but he used to rave about Zach in all of his press conferences. Zach's a cool dude. I don't really know him personally, but like the few times I got to interact with him when I worked for the crew, he's fun. And you know, back when I like when I worked for the crew, I saw him every home game, right? Like I watched every home game. His distribution was awful. He's really improved on that. I can't remember what minute it was, but there was one where someone was closing down and he just chipped it over his head. I don't know if you remember that, but that really scared me, but he pulled it off.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that's continued to improve. He's only 25 years old, which actually is young for a goalkeeper. He's learning from Pep Guardiola. He's learning from Ederson. Hopefully he gets a move next year where, whether it's a loan or a permanent move where he can play some first team football. But, I mean, he's a solid player. There wasn't much he had to do today, so it's hard to know.
Yeah, I agree that he's kind of always just been. I mean, you didn't actually say this, but there is something that always I feel like leaves a little bit to be desired about Stefan. It feels like he hasn't. I don't think he has many like terrible games for the U.S. by any means, but like there are. It doesn't seem like he puts in like man of the match type performances, which maybe keepers usually don't, but just really memorable performances. But I think usually he's just solid and.
Has he played any competitive games for us? I don't know if he has. Did he play in the Gold Cup? I don't know. I think the thing about him is he always has one or two moments that you're kind of like, oh, that was not great. And, you know, the moment you talked about earlier
Right.
where he couldn't control the pass back to him is one of them. Against Jamaica at home. See, so we had 2 games against Jamaica. We had one under Berhalter, which was in the U.S., where he just passed it to the Jamaican player, and I think they scored. So it seems like he has those moments. The thing when you play for Manchester City and when you're playing for Manchester City, like in cup competitions only, is you're not really going to be troubled that often, which he hasn't been. So I think almost sometimes it's better for goalkeepers to play for worse teams, just so they're seeing a lot of shots. I mean, am I crazy?
Well, yeah, I mean, he didn't see too many shots today either, so I guess he was warmed up for that. Only 3 shots on target, like you said, the 3 saves, and I think only 8 shots total for Jamaica compared to our 28. But
wow, 28 shots, wow.
Or 9 to 28, excuse me. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, I can't get too comfortable because there will be harder opponents and more intense games where some of the little mistakes are really going to make a huge impact.
Matt Turner,
Yeah.
though. I want to see Matt Turner. We'll see how good he is when we get to see him more for the U.S. He's a goalkeeper for the Revolution.
Yep.
And David Ochoa looks pretty good, too, for the U23s. So...
Yeah, I agree with you that it shouldn't be set in stone necessarily at all, but...
I mean, there's just no one else right now. I mean...
Yeah, I'm not really, like, concerned with Zach Steffen going into these summer's fixtures, but...
No, but it's not inconceivable that he's our weakest player, which is crazy.
Our weakest player plays for Manchester City.
Okay, I mean, it makes this.
I mean, watches Manchester City.
Yeah, exactly. No, but really, I mean, if you have a strongest 11, I mean, I think he could be our weakest player.
I think striker is a position that I would say is still. Well, maybe.
Well, let's talk about our striker. Let's talk about the forwards.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So, playing on the left, we had Christian Pulisic. At striker, Josh Sargent. And on the right, we had Giovanni Reyna. I thought all 3 kind of had their moments. I think, most disappointed in Giovanni Reyna.
Really? Interesting.
Well, I mean, not really.
Tell me
okay.
why. Tell me why.
Well, I just felt like he had so many options. He could have had like 2 or 3 goals in this game.
Okay, his finishing was bad. I'll give you
And
that.
I only say that because that's a problem that we've seen for Borussia Dortmund too. So I mean, it doesn't because even when you look at some of his statistics, like he's very progressive. He makes the key passes and everything, but like that end product just hasn't been there for Borussia Dortmund. I think he only has 3 goals and 4 assists in 24 matches for Dortmund this year, and
In the league, yeah.
yes, in the Bundesliga, and yeah, like I also the body language stuff that we were talking a lot about off air, it rubs me the wrong way. So I think that probably
Okay.
maybe wrongfully impacted my perception.
So we're talking about Reyna. So let's he is so petulant. I mean, he's only 18. This is something that's bothered me for a long time when I see him play since the youth teams. Like, in the beginning, like Reggie Cannon didn't pass it to him when he was in the box, and he's like started freaking out, and he wasn't even open. Like there was someone near him. I mean, he does still go celebrate with his team when they score, and he's like smiling and laughing at times. But he I was telling you, I don't know if any of our listeners play Overwatch or even play any FPS, but he just like tilts and he gets mad, and it's like it feels like he's one of those people. It's like, oh, my healers suck in Overwatch. Like, why am I not getting healed? It's like that kind of mentality. It feels like.
No, yeah, he threw up his arms many times, and yeah.
That being said, I thought he was really good actually. Aside from his finishing problems, I thought he was better than Christian Pulisic, quite frankly. He really marauded forward a few times. He had some really nice passes and some really nice ideas. He had a lot of great interplay on the edge of the box that led to some chances. And I think this was his best performance as a senior national team player. I think it's only his third. But I thought it was his best performance, and he looks more comfortable on the wing. End product, not there yet. He just turned 18 years old. Hopefully that comes in time. And I think I would much rather have a player like him who has to work on his finishing than a player who's already good at finishing that has to work on everything else. I mean, that's not really a comparison anyone's making, but you know what I mean? Like, that is something that he can improve on. That is something.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And he doesn't have Erling Haaland to bail him out for the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I was just thinking about is that, like I felt like Pulisic did have just from watching the game, it seemed like he was part of more dangerous sequences, but at the same time, he had the benefit of playing with Serginho Dest, and then Reyna, part of the fullback of his triangle was Reggie Cannon, who was maybe the worst player on the pitch today. So
I think the replays on ESPN Plus. So, I mean, if you want to, you should go back and watch bits of it. I think if you were to rewatch it, you would agree that Gio Reyna was the better player than Christian Pulisic today. He was popping up in dangerous spots a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 3 like you said, he had 3 chances where he really should have scored.
Well, yeah, he had one chance where he had 2 shots on goal, both of which you could argue that he could have scored.
Right, and he had 2 other ones. I mean, he had the one where he took the bad touch, that was Brendan Aronson entry pass, and I think he had one in the first half. Or, actually, though, I think he had another chance. But anyway, having those shots is indicative of the positions he was finding himself in, right, and the runs he was making. And I think that his negative body language, and a player who has body language like that often gets conflated with laziness on the pitch. He's not a lazy player. Like, he is making runs off the ball. He is tracking back when he needs to. He is looking for the ball deep and picking it up and running forward. So I think we have to be careful not to conflate those two things. And I know it's hard because I struggle with it too. The body language thing really, really I struggle with. And I'm hoping that it'll improve as he matures into an actual adult, which he barely is.
This is true.
I mean, he still looks like a child. Not everyone is Yunus Musa and like this statesman. So, I thought.
Yeah, I feel like even Clint Dempsey. I don't think he ever acted like super expressive, but sometimes it seemed like potentially he was like he could strike you as lazy, but like he really never was. Like he was always super active and
Right.
constantly contributing to the attack. But
I think a better comparison is Ronaldo, body language wise. He reminds me a lot of Cristiano Ronaldo, with how he's interacting with his teammates. But see, the thing is, when
if production can get to that point, then
well,
be
okay,
happy.
yeah, but I mean, he's not like Ronaldo because it seems like he genuinely gets along with his teammates, and like it's just like when things happen in the moment, he tilts. So
yes, well, we'll try not to read too much into that. I think Reyna, yeah, you're right. He was in really good positions. It's saddened to me sometimes for other people to play really good balls into him and him not being able to pay it off. But
so think about it this way, like when we had, I mean, I know this is kind of a loaded comparison, but when you have someone like Paul Areola or like Corey Baird or like Graham Zuzi even, I mean, just having someone of Reyna's quality, like this seems like an okay game for him, but he's able to find himself in those positions, and his touch and his ability that always sort of comes through. I have the game playing in the background right now, and he just received a pass, and he bodied someone off, and just he passed it back to Cannon on the right side here, and it led to a throw-in, but just now, he just dribbled around two guys. Like, I think if you go back and watch, it's those little things, those little moments.
I can grade him on a curve.
You can grade him on a curve, sure. But I just randomly in the 50th minute, he just had three nice sequences of play. So, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think you're wrong here.
Yeah, no, I didn't think Christian looked like a world beater in this game either. I thought there was a couple.
I thought he was the worst.
Sequences.
I thought he was the worst forward.
No, yeah. I think Sargent was the best forward.
I think so too. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
Sargent...
Brendan Aronson was pretty fantastic, but okay. Which one do you want to talk about first? Who do you want to talk about?
We can talk about Pulisic first.
Okay. I mean, he only played 45 minutes. So,
this is true, yeah.
Okay, now I'm seeing Reyna get mad at himself for missing. He's so funny. He, goes and sulks. But Christian Pulisic...
a stat just to keep an eye out for Reyna, and, he hasn't been in the greatest form this year, but he's in the 39th percentile this year among attacking mids and wingers in Europe's top 5 leagues in terms of non-penalty expected goals and assists per 90 minutes. He's not being penalized for coming off the bench. So not great, but I mean the talent's there, the quality's there, and I'm expecting great things of him, and I think that's why I've been a little harsh, but he definitely looks like one of the most talented players on the pitch. Yes.
Right. I feel like I'm way too harsh on Gio Reyna, and somehow you're harsher.
I think just I'm not. Once you have one wonder kid,
there's a lot of hype around Gio Reyna. There's a lot of hype.
One, I guess it was so weird. It's also the players at the same club as the first wonder kid.
Oh my
so
God.
It's not, you feel the need to compare. It's not as exciting because it just felt like this is a thing that happens now. And
oh my God, I'm just going to random points in the game, and Gio Reyna is having nice passages of play.
Okay, but can you not count against him that he cost the U.S. a couple goals today?
No, of course you can. I mean, of course you can. He should have scored, especially on the Brendan Aronson. Well, actually, on both of them, he really should have scored. And you should count that against him. I'm just saying, yes, we can grade him on a curve, but let's not grade him like he's a 24-year-old player who's already one of the best players in the world. I think a lot of these things are going to improve, and I hope they improve. And, you know, if he plays like this on the right wing, I have no problem with him starting over Timothy Weah, which, you know, I've been wanting Timothy Weah to start. He's obviously not in camp, but I think Gio Reyna has the highest ceiling of anyone in the pool, honestly. Yeah, I don't think that's crazy to say. I think he has the highest ceiling of anyone in the pool. It's just, you know, can he get there? And it seems like he does have the work ethic, even though he complains a lot. But let's talk about Pulisic, because we went back to Reyna somehow. Pulisic, not his best game. He had a lot of wayward touches. He's such a direct player, though, so, you know, he's not always going to be able to pull something off. Otherwise, he'd have, like, 100 goals.
Right. I think that led to him forcing some shots, too, that he just didn't necessarily need to.
No, he didn't.
He definitely wanted a goal in the first half. Like, you could see that.
Right. And he probably knew he was only playing 45 minutes. He definitely grew into the game, but his touch wasn't great. I think he was trying to do a little bit too much on his own. Reyna does this, too. They both play a little bit of hero ball sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, but we want them to be Brooklyn Nets James Harden, not Houston Rockets James Harden. So, you know, I think both of them, because of their form, especially Christian, because of their form and their lack of playing time right now for their clubs, I think they were both just desperate to get into it, get involved, and do something great. And, you know, we know how good Christian Pulisic is. It wasn't his greatest performance. People are going to have off nights. So, I mean, it just wasn't his greatest. He grew into the game towards the end of the half, so hopefully if he plays again on Sunday, we'll see more of that.
I mean, and it feels like something that I think he actually, like, he was playing really well within that triangle and drifting out wide, making the right runs, attracting attention, creating space for Dest to cut in on his right, which was what led to that first amazing goal, which I guess we'll talk about when we get to Serginho Dest a little more. But, and maybe that's kind of a cop-out, you know, like, you know, how, but I do think that Christian Pulisic did attract a certain amount of attention in the first half, and that allowed us to, Dest and Leggett and Acosta to get more chances around the goal.
No, I mean, that's true. And I think once he understood how awesome Dest was, in this game, he started to drift wider and wider and pull that defender wider, which I think at the beginning of the game they were kind of close to each other, but he like you said, he was starting to vacate more space and play more on the touchline there, which I don't even know if that's necessarily best for Pulisic, but I think that's part of the reason why he started to play better towards the end of the first half, because his relationship with Dest started to grow. I mean, also... Right, and that shows... Yeah. If our left side is going to be Dest and Pulisic, I mean, come on. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Alejandro Bedoya and the corpse of DeMarcus Beasley. It's our left side of the 2014 World Cup.
That is wild to think about.
I mean, DeMarcus Beasley was actually really good in the World Cup, but...
yeah. And previous World Cups, of course, but yeah.
Any other thoughts on Christian? I mean, there's not really... I feel like...
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think he did defer to Dest more, lay it off to him more, and create space for him. And I think that shows, you know, some maturity from Pulisic, going a little less from the hero ball by the end of the half. And, yeah, he got himself into good positions, too. I mean, look, like, on the ball, Pulisic is just so talented. Like,
yeah.
It looks like he's gliding sometimes. He's just able to beat a defender so easily, like it's nothing, and keep an eye on goal, and just create enough space to get off a good shot every time he's in the final third.
Yeah.
He doesn't always actually like shoot it well or on target, but it's amazing. He's so talented, and I think that showed again today.
I think his biggest weakness is his shot. He just doesn't generate much power. Sometimes he does. I know I've talked about this,
but like streaks, I feel like.
But you know, players like Ross Barkley and Mason Mount, like, who are just able to put their laces through it and generate so much power.
Yeah.
I feel like if Pulisic could, you know, do that a little bit more, he'd be so much better. It's funny, you know, I feel like we have the same, you know, analysis for Pulisic and Reyna, but just reversed. Because to me, like, Reyna was the one gliding today. You know what? When I come home tomorrow, I'll show you some highlights of Reyna. And you can watch it. We can watch him on Sunday.
I'm sure I can show you some highlights of Pulisic
No,
gliding.
you're right. I just felt like his foot was less sticky than it usually is.
Okay. Yeah. No. I think that's definitely fair. There were some touches that went wayward, like you said, but when like sometimes okay. I guess I was about to say sometimes the shots that were just like weren't even on target started from like impressive runs where he beat multiple defenders, but I guess I was bashing Reyna on doing.
Yeah, exactly.
For doing the same thing before.
Right. Exactly.
Look, there's lots of in the U.S. soccer community, U.S. men's soccer. There's lots of overcorrections that we constantly have to deal with. So right now, I'm sympathetic because people have been critical of Pulisic. Well, not really. I mean, I guess people just want him to play more. But
is there a world where Pulisic is not an automatic starter?
No.
Where Timothy Weah and Gio Reyna are starters? I mean, Lille's in first place in Ligue 1, and he's starting. But okay,
I don't think so.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm mostly joking. I think
Pulisic is better than Weah.
Well, we haven't seen Weah. They're completely different players.
Not much. I mean, yeah.
Weah has really improved. I thought Weah was really overrated, but I mean, this season he's just been awesome for Lille.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say. I think.
I guess we should probably talk about Josh Sargent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was really good today. He had that assist to Brendan Aronson in the second half, and he also just
his hold-up play was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Go ahead.
I thought his pressing was really good too. Just doing a lot of little things.
It was awesome. Well, that's what everyone always says about Josh Sargent. Like, he does all the little things well because, you know, it's so bad. Bremen is so freaking bad. They don't generate any chances. He has scored recently. I think he scored 3 goals in his last 5 or 4 in his last 6, something like that. So he's been in really good form scoring the ball recently. But, you know, I think when I was talking about this in November, Josh Sargent is sort of an all-around striker. He's a good finisher. He's a good presser. He makes good runs off the ball. He's a decent passer. He's not very good in the air, but I think this is a perfect game to show why he's solid and why he legitimately is just a better option than Gyasi Zardes. He does everything Gyasi Zardes does. He does all the good things Gyasi Zardes does, and he's better at the things Gyasi Zardes can't do, like make a clean touch. So I think right now striker should be Josh Sargent's position to lose. Because on this performance, like you said, he did all the little things right. His pressing was so good. He was able to hold it. I mean, I'm repeating myself now because he was just that good.
Yeah, and I think the half chances that he almost had were not really as a result of him not being in the right spot or him like not finishing the ball. It was just like the passes were like an inch off, or some of them were like ambitious crosses and just balls that he just couldn't get on the end of. So I don't think there was any problems there. Like he was always in the right spot.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? Like I said, I'm watching the game. Musa really did drop into the 6th position, and Acosta was sometimes the furthest center midfielder forward. I think we'll see that a lot, actually, even with our full strength midfield. But I shouldn't take away from Josh's play because I thought he was excellent. I mean, we should move on. We should move through the players quickly because at this point. But I mean, is there anything else we really want to say about Josh Sargent? I think on Sunday's game we should probably do a rewatch of the game, and we'll both watch it more closely because we'll be together. But you know, we both only watched this game once, so. On first watch, like I think he definitely stood out to me as having just a really, really nice game.
Okay, let's talk about the back line finally. We had...
are we going to talk about our subs?
Oh, yes, we can talk about our subs.
We had 3 of them. Let's talk about Brendan Aronson first, because he was clearly the best one. He came on at halftime, actually, for Christian Pulisic. And looked better than Christian Pulisic. He's not a better player, obviously. But he looked really good, man. I mean, he you know, someone was talking, I was listening to the Austrian commentary, and they kept on talking about how fast he was. And Brendan Aronson never struck me as fast, but he looked rapid in this game.
Yeah, he did.
His passes were really, really. I mean, that entry ball to Reyna was really good. And 2 minutes after that opportunity, he ends up scoring his goal after, like you said, that wonderful turn from Sargent, the fake out, the juke.
Right, and he had the hockey assist header to Sargent on that passage too.
Yeah, and you know, I think Taylor Twellman said something in the broadcast where it's like, you know, even a year ago, it was like, if the goals aren't coming from Christian Pulisic, where are they coming from? And now we just have so many options, it feels like. I mean, Brendan Aronson's 20 years old. This is crazy. Sahil, this is insane. Like, this is insane. Our entire lineup is so young, and it's so exciting. And he was really impressive. I think winger is his best position. I think it's better than midfielder. I mean, that's where he's been playing for Leipzig on the left side under Jesse Marsch, and I think it allows him to do some of the things that he likes to do: face up defenders, take him on 1-on-1, play along the line, and then cut inside, and then drift inside. Well, not drift, make a run inside and pick up the ball again from you know, whoever he passed it to, whether it's Leggett or Dest or Sargent. So he really impressed me today. He really did.
Yeah, I thought he made some really creative runs too. Passing looked pretty crisp. Yeah, he beyond his goal, he just had a very solid performance.
Yep. All right, so moving on. Nicholas Gioacchini, you know, honestly, he was good. I had never seen him play on the wing before, so I thought he didn't look out of place on the wing. You know, I always sort of thought of him as like a back-to-goal striker and more of a traditional-ish number 9. But I thought he looked decent on the wing. He had an assist, like you said, and he was dropped. Go ahead.
Yeah, he had another ground cross to Josh Sargent that almost like he just barely couldn't get to.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that, and even, you know, in not even in the final third, in the middle third, when he was playing with Cannon or with Musa and De La Torre. I thought he had a really good rapport with De La Torre, actually, when he came on, and they were playing off each other really well. He was able to play back to goal on the right side there, but he looked comfortable with the ball on his feet as well, and he looks better than a Ligue 2 player. Honestly, I think he could definitely play at a higher level. What do you think? Yeah,
I thought he looked really good. I think was able to make an instant impact after he came on. One thing that, one negative thing that I noticed is that I think there was one ball, and I guess this is probably like easier to identify on TV than when you're actually playing, but there was a cross from one side of the field, and he should have left it for Luca De La Torre. Do you remember that when?
Yeah.
De La Torre would have had a one-on-one with the keeper, but he just tried to get a touch on it, and then the USMNT lost possession.
You know, that happened in the first half where Josh Sargent when Sebastian Leggett took a ball off of Josh Sargent's foot, almost, basically.
Yeah.
But I think Sargent would have scored there. Yeah, I mean, he was good. I'm interested to see more. The final forward that came on was Jordan Siebica. I mean, he didn't really do much, so I don't think there's much to say.
Yeah, I really have nothing to say on him.
But congrats on his debut. He's been playing well for young boys over in Switzerland. All right. Yep. The back line. So let's just talk about it as a whole. Let's not go through each player. Well, let's talk about Serginho Dest, because he deserves his own.
I've been waiting this whole podcast to talk about Serginho Dest.
he deserves his own spotlight. My God, the sauce, the absolute sauce of Serginho Dest. I'm trying to think of a basketball comparison.
Like Kyrie?
Yeah, Kyrie. I was thinking AI, but Kyrie is
Well, I think even those two basketball players are compared just in terms of the level of handle that they both have.
I mean, it's just handles for no reason. Like, well, but the thing about Destiny is it is for a reason. Like, that's what's so incredible. Like, yes, he sometimes does. It seems like he's doing skills for no reason, but it seemed like everything was deliberate today, and everything was for a reason. It was to, to get out of a sticky situation. In the 7th minute, when they had, I think, 3 corners, Jamaica, in a row or something, and they were really, it was after that stupid Zach Steffen mistake. He skilled his way out of our third. And, he's just so skillful. He's such a good passer, I think, on the ground. He has such great vision. And the goal, I mean, you can talk about the goal. That was incredible.
Oh, yeah. He's just carrying the ball by himself upfield, cut it out back onto his right foot, just a curler. And I don't know if Jamaica keeper actually got a hand to it or not, but either way, it was just a fantastic finish and super exciting. I got out of my seat when that happened.
Yeah, when I texted you, it was just a bunch of expletives. That was a moment from brilliant. And up until that point, the U.S. had been playing well, but after that, it felt like the U.S. really started to control the game. And they really grew in confidence. His defending, he didn't have to do a whole lot of defending today. But just going forward, he's one of the best in the world, I think.
Yeah. This year, he is 92nd percentile at his position in expected goals and assists, which doesn't surprise me, in Europe's top 5 leagues. And he's 99th percentile in passing completion, which I think is like super impressive. And that was something I was saying, or I was thinking about in this game. It's like, yeah, he's doing all these skills and he's making things complicated, but he's not losing the ball really. He's not.
That's what I mean. I don't think he's I think like he is creating space for himself and for his teammates.
Yeah, and that's why also for Barcelona, 97th percentile in progressive carries. This is all based on his time with Barca, so this has nothing to do with his Eredivisie career. This is, amazing what he's doing at the club and country level. He is something special, and probably my favorite fullback I've ever watched, I feel. Or maybe, well, one of them I've ever watched, partly because he plays for the U.S. national team.
You didn't like Eric Lehigh?
Eric Lehigh, yeah.
There's a lot of skillful players who will face someone up, skill, and then just pass backwards because nothing comes of it. He beats his guys. He beats the man defending him. And, if he needs to run down the line on the right side and get a cross in, he's going to do that. He's not going to overcomplicate that all the time. I think we've seen such an incredible progression from him. He was not doing anything like this in the U20 World Cup. He was really good, but he wasn't doing anything like this. And just the confidence that he has, I don't know if you heard the whole baguette thing. That was every USMNT Twitter was going crazy about how Sebastian Soto said, Serginho will just have a baguette before a game. It's really weird. He'll only eat a baguette. So I don't know what's in those baguettes, but it's working. So you should,
whatever it is,
you should continue to eat those baguettes. But
he said he told Berhalter that he was going to score this game, so he called it.
Yeah, he's almost scored before against Mexico. Was that his debut? He was playing on the left side and he cut inside and almost scored. I'm interested to see him play on the right again. And I just, the thing about Des is he can get down the line and send it a nice cross. But it is really nice to have him cut in on his left foot. Obviously, there are drawbacks for an inverted fullback. It's nice having, I think one of the greatest ways to progress the ball or to get out of your own third is to pass the ball along the sideline, along the touchline, right? If you're on the right, if you're a right back with your right foot, if you're a left back with your left foot, like Leighton Baines and Luca Digne do this all the time. They send the ball forward, a curling ball forward from the left side into the path of the winger. So that's not something he can do from the left side, but I mean, what you're gaining from him the final third, I think it's worth it. And I mean, whatever side he plays on, if he even plays on the wing sometimes, I mean, I'm excited to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think he should continue at left back, or?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, I think it kind of may be matchup dependent. You could gauge it based on how the other team's backline is able to handle those overlapping runs, and if you have a striker that's wants to get in behind the defense and finish more and have those crosses cut back to them, then maybe it would make more sense for him to be as a right back. But
go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know. I think I don't think I think he will be the best player on the pitch or one of them either way.
Yeah. I do want to see him on the same side as Reyna on that right side, because I think Pulisic and him kind of want to do the same thing on the left side. I mean, do you agree with that? Like, it kind of seems like, obviously they do play well together, but it seems like you could have that on both sides if you had Destin. Well, maybe you can't, though.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Like, Reyna dropping in and Des going further forward than him, I think would be interesting to see on the right side. So we'll see if we see that in the left game. Aaron Long was solid. I don't think we need to say too much about him, except for me, I thought he was really solid. He covered for John Brooks sometimes. John Brooks was John Brooks, except he wasn't good at passing today, which is not John Brooks. Like, he had some really weird, bad passes. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Yeah, I thought he looked much more comfortable in the second half.
Yeah, even in the second half, he had some weird bad passes.
Yeah. Not something you expect. Really impressive, though, what he's done this year, staying healthy, playing in 24 out of 26 of Wolfsburg's games, and they're third in the Bundesliga, so
yeah,
he's been a big part of their success.
He's been great this year. And Aaron Long, preseason, he's solid. He's not a flashy center back, but he's solid, and he gets the job done. Reggie Cannon, man, he was really bad today, I thought. Committed a lot of fouls, not great in the opposing half, and I thought he was really at fault I thought it was really his fault for Jamaica's goal. And we can talk about.
Yeah, he just gave Andre Gray so much time there to like make a decision and wait for the run.
Right.
That I didn't understand that. Right. He got magged too, which doesn't make it any better. Yeah.
True. And it was a bad game from him. He has not been playing well for Boa Vista. So hopefully he can get back to his club and play. John Brooks, and Nico Joaquin are actually not participating on Sunday. They went back to their clubs today. We'll see a new backline on Sunday. Reggie Cannon, very sloppy, not great. I was not happy with his performance because I do love Reggie, but we do have a lot of right back depth, so he's got to play better if he wants to keep his position. Brian Reynolds is waiting in the wing.
This is true.
And Serginho Dest is there. So, and then the defender there are two defenders who came on. Chris Richards and Anthony Robinson came on. Chris Richards, I love him, but he was not good today. I think he looked kind of sheepish almost, like he was unsure of himself, and that's not something that we really see. He does play, I think, on the left side for his club, for Hoffenheim. I can't remember if they play a back three, but I think they do. But yeah, he did not look very confident, and it made sense why, if that's the way he looked in camp, it made sense why Berhalter was like, okay, Aaron Long's going to play. So what'd you think of his performance?
Yeah, I can't remember now if Richards was tracking the run of the goal scorer on that Jamaica goal, or if that was Anthony Robinson. But
Robinson wasn't in the game yet.
Oh, right. Robinson came on in the 67th minute. Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
so
Actually, I think he was in the game. I think he had just come on. Anyway, I'll look. I'll look at the goal right now.
So, I like you said, just a little bit. I don't know. I think it's different people coming on early in the half. I think
it was Acosta. I mean, Richards maybe should have tracked the run, but Acosta was the nearest guy there. Acosta let him in behind.
Okay, gotcha.
But
no, I don't think he looked super comfortable. I thought I'm curious to see if he'll start in the next game. I think I would like to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it might be him and Aaron Long. I do not want to see Tim Ream. I really don't. Like, him and Aaron Long or him and Eric Palmer-Brown is something that I would like to see against Northern Ireland. And then Anthony Robinson, I thought this was his best performance in a U.S. national team jersey. He was really good in the opposing half. He won the ball back once or twice. And he had a really nice pass to, I believe it was Brendan Aronson. I thought he just fizzed it in there in the box, and Aronson had a good touch. And they were playing pretty well off of each other. So I'd like to see him go a full 92 on the left side.
Yeah, he looked much better than his last game. I'd be curious. Yeah, I would like to see him start maybe on the left and then Dest on the right in the next game. Yeah,
absolutely. And just for final thoughts on this game, I think Jamaica, it was an interesting lineup. It was obviously not their best lineup. They have a lot of guys. There's a contract dispute in Jamaica with the federation with how much they want to be paid. They have a lot of guys they're trying to recruit, like Mason Holgate, Mikel Antonio, Max Aarons, Nathan Redmond. If those guys come in, Kamar Lawrence and Andre Blake weren't there. If those guys are there, I mean, this team is actually a really, really formidable team. But Jamaica, they were making it competitive, right? It wasn't like you texted me and you were like, this feels like a friendly, but then it didn't all of a sudden. It felt like a pretty competitive match. It got a little bit chippy. And, they still had some good players, a lot of players that play in the championship and play in England, so some quality. Obviously, some players who play in Jamaica who haven't played in like a year. So it was a really wide range of quality, but, they still had players like Michael Hector and Ariappa at right back and the goal scorer, who I believe plays for Swansea. They had some talent on the field. There's not a whole lot you can take out, but it was a competitive match, and the U.S. dominated, and they deserved a multi-goal victory. Like you said, it was 28 shots to 9. Like they absolutely dominated, and it's fun to watch them now. It's really fun to watch them.
Yeah, 69% possession to 31 too. So, definitely the results. I think the scoreline reflected the game that was played, and. It was very fun to watch them. They definitely eased into it. It looked a little very slow at first, but I'm excited to see the game on Sunday and see if they can build on this or if we can learn anything new. It was a good one.
The U.S. plays Sunday at noon Eastern against Northern Ireland. The U.S. U23s will also be playing on Sunday night to try to book a trip, or U24s rather, to try to book a trip to the Olympics for the first time since 2008. So big U.S. Soccer Sunday. We will be back Sunday evening breaking down probably both games, now that I'm thinking about it. So I know you're probably very excited about that. But breaking down both games. We'll see you then. You can contact us at soccerbrotherspodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you follow us at Twitter at soccerbrotherspod. Follow us on Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel, which we haven't uploaded in forever, but go and check that out. We'll probably be a little bit more active soon. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys next time for another episode of the Soccer Brothers Podcast.
Thanks.